Spent a bit more time on Maude. New holes, didn't have much luck. That failed. A bit drifty, it doesn't work. Shake the spray can, definitely a bit harder than I was expecting. I've run out of paint. Yep, that's a real shame. Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Marcus Hayes, and today I've jumped in my dad's Mk2 Escort, which has become a bit of a daily for me lately, and I'm heading over to my other garages where I'm currently storing both of my Maude Mk2 Escorts. I've got so much going on over the next few weeks. Maude, my blue Maude Mk2 Escort, is going on the dyno in a matter of a few days, and pretty soon Esther, my ST170 powered Mark 1 Escort, will be coming back from the paint shop because Gavin and his very talented team have almost finished her repair. Now, I've got a bit of footage that I filmed the day after the video that I put out on New Year's Eve, so I'll put that in now and I'll catch back up with you when I get to the garage. I spent a bit more time on Maude. Oh, this morning I had to replace this ring terminal on the alternator wire. It had basically come off. But yesterday I finally sorted out the wiring for the fuel pump. If you've been watching my videos, you'll know that I recently moved the pump to underneath the car, and ever since then I've had the wires basically coming down like this. So yeah, yesterday I cut the wires, poked them through a hole that I drilled. I've put a grommet there and some sealer, and yeah, it's a much neater job now. I've also put some grommets in some of these holes that are no longer needed, and I chucked some sealer in these really small holes, and I'll cut that sealer back a bit to make it a bit neater. So yeah, the wiring comes out through the bottom of that hole. I've reattached the multi-plug, just so if I ever need to remove the pump, I can just unplug that multi-plug. And yeah, the wiring just skips underneath this chassis leg and goes to the pump. And conveniently, there's two holes in the chassis leg, so that I could put a little cable tie there to keep the wiring tidy. And it's worth noting as well, the couple of times that I have taken Maude around the block since I moved the pump to there, I haven't had any issues with the pump not working, so that's good. Another thing I did yesterday as a continuation of what I was up to 2 days ago is I've now refitted the Sparco Corsa in the driver's side using the brand new bracket, and I used the same measurements as I did with the passenger seat. Yeah, it's a much better way of doing it. I did notice that on this seat, the back of it is a bit narrower than the front. So when I drilled the holes and I attached the bracket to the runners, there was a gap between this bracket and the seat, but once I've done these bolts up, it basically bent the bracket in. So yeah, that's sweet. I have also drilled new holes in each one of the 4 feet for the runners, about 15 mil forward, and that's actually meant that I've got another 15 mil space because the seat is now 15 mil further back. And yeah, it's much easier to get in and out of the car now, and it's a perfect driving position. Now, I did spend a little bit more time yesterday on the fly-off handbrake conversion, but I didn't have much luck. So at first I tried to drill a little hole in the side of this rod, and I was thinking I could use like a split pin, but my tiny drill bits just broke, so that failed. Then I thought maybe I could drill the end of it to sort of mushroom the end of it, but yeah, I wasn't able to do it enough so that it would stop the button from coming off, because the hole in the button is so much wider than this rod. So then I started taking really drastic action, and basically with it all together, with the spring, you know, while I was holding the spring back, I was trying to put this button on and then just crush the end of it with mole grips to see if I could get it to stay on tightly, but yeah, that failed. The only way this is really going to work is if I put it all together, I pull the spring back and then put a blob of weld on the end of this rod, and then it will stop this button from sliding off. I've got more than one of these handbrakes spare, which is why I just decided to, you know, send it and see if I could, you know, crimp this on. So I think the best option is going to be to get a button off of one of my other spares, and yeah, as I say, just put a blob of weld on the end of this, and then, you know, let it sort of come up to the blobber weld, and then maybe even weld the rod to the button. But yeah, I'll try that another day. A lot of people online have said that what you can do is just push the button and then drill through and put a pin. So then whenever you need the handbrake to be, you know, a bit drifty, you can just pull the button and put the pin in, and then once you've finished drifting, you can just take the pin out and it works normally. There is also someone on eBay selling brand new handbrakes that you can now get with the fly-off conversion already fitted for about 65 quid. So maybe I'll be lazy and buy one of them. I don't know, but yeah, I really would like a fly-off handbrake in this car. Although I've never initiated a drift with the handbrake, I've always, you know, used clutch kicks, which I've heard is the best way to learn anyway. You know, I would like to, in the future, control the slides with the handbrake a bit. You know, you can sort of slow your speed down while staying sideways if you give the handbrake a little pull. All right, so I've made it to the garage. In fact, I've already been here quite a while, and I've been doing the best job I can of getting the dust out of the cockpit of the new project. Now, unfortunately, I haven't had an opportunity to plug in the hoover to clear this out properly. I did buy this can of compressed air from Toolstation just to blow some of the dust out of the corners. But other than that, I've been doing the best job I can with a dustpan and brush, and using degreaser on a rag to get some of the final bits of dust out. I did have a go at trying to get this generator to work that belongs to my mate Fred. I tried cleaning out the spark plug, but yeah, it doesn't work, so just had to make do with what I've got. Now, the reason I'm being so impatient about painting the interior of this car is that soon Esther will be coming back from the paint shop, and then that's going to mean that I'm going to lose the temporary extra garage space I've got at the moment, and that garage is filled with the interior from this car. Ultimately though, all this cockpit is going to be covered by interior and trim, so I'm not that bothered if there's a little bit of dust underneath the paint. Now, while I think of it, I am looking for a chocolate brown carpet for this car, so if any of you guys out there have got a decent condition one for sale, do get in touch. I'll leave the links to my social media in the description. So I'm just going to shake up the spray can and get to work. I'm going to put the first coat on very lightly, and then hopefully he'll have a better chance of actually sticking. Well, there it is, first coat. Definitely a bit harder than I was expecting. There doesn't seem to be much pressure in these cans, and it is a bit windy, but doing the best I can under the circumstances. I've actually only got 1.5 cans of this paint left, so I'm gonna have to be a bit choosy where I go heavy on the second coat. Definitely gone a bit heavier over there than I did over here. I'm definitely gonna try and get a heavier coat on this area. I might stay away from these sound deadening pads. And yeah, just try and get a heavier coat elsewhere. Should be pretty much dry now. Yeah, these cans don't really like being anything other than dead straight up either. That's enough excuses. Get on with it. I got there because that was quite rusty. Don't have to worry about that bit, although that is seen. That bit's going to be done in satin black. And I think the top of this is able to be seen from the boot area. Now that will probably get properly prepped and painted when the boot does get done, but I'll just give it a heavy coat just in case. Alright, so that is all it's getting. I've run out of paint, but I like to think I've got it on all the important areas. I wanted to make sure that I've got a good coat on the bulkhead there, because that all got pretty much bare metalled. But yeah, all this is going to be covered. Carpet will be covering the floor. Rear seats will be covering this area. I've got the trim pieces that cover the inner tubs. But yeah, finally got the interior in the right colour. So now I'm gonna pack up a bit and throw the new project back in her garage, and then I'm gonna get Maude out. One more go. Now I've got a feeling that the idle mixture screws are set too rich, and that's why it struggles to start. Whenever I take the plugs out, whenever it's struggled to start, they are, you know, all sooty. So I'm going to have a go at leaning them out today. But first I want to fit something to these carbs that I've really struggled to find anywhere for sale, and it is these longer trumpets. Now for a lot of the bike carbs you can buy longer trumpets off the shelf, but these have actually been made by attaching these DCOE style trumpets to the base part of the original CBR 900 trumpets. Now these were actually very kindly lent to me by a guy called Dale Thomas, just so that I've got a set for the dyno in a few days. So I want to send a massive thanks out to you, Dale. I really appreciate it. Since I've been speaking to Dale, I have actually found a company called Bog Brothers who are able to make me a set of these trumpets. But yeah, really glad that I've got these ones for the dyno, because Bog Brothers wouldn't have been able to make my ones in time. Dale also very kindly sent me these pins that should be suitable to block the air correctors in the carbs if it's necessary. And Dale did send me a picture of where the air correctors are in these carbs. They're actually underneath the trumpet, so we'll be able to see in a minute. And yeah, hopefully some of these will fit. I'll take my soldering iron and some solder with me, or some blue tack or something, to the dyno along with these pins, and then if Chris thinks we need to block the air correctors, they should do the job. So yeah, massive thanks to you, Dale. To replace these trumpets, I need to undo these 4 screws to get this sort of retainer plate off. Still haven't got myself a proper Japanese spec screwdriver. Once these screws are undone, this plate should just lift out along with the trumpet. And there is a little gasket there behind it as well. Got to be careful not to damage that. So yeah, these are the air correctors. I'm not sure which one of these is the one that I might need to block, but Dale did send me a picture, so when the time comes I will know which one. So the trumpet, if I just twist it round to there, will come out, and then we can put the new one in, hopefully. They're not the same. So his carburetors must be different. Yep, that's a real shame. Well, that's unfortunate. So it looks like I'm going to have to go to the dyno with the stock trumpets. I mean, even if I can get Maude running safe in a few days at the dyno session, I can always go back again to see if we can get any more power out of it with longer trumpets. But yeah, that is a bit disappointing. I'm worried that this gasket is going to stay in that position and get squashed. It should be down like that. That's it. I'm going to try and put these hex bolts in there, because I don't like them Japanese screws. And then what I'll do, tomorrow I'll go to a tool station and get some Allen key bolts this length and this thread and replace them all. This pipe gets in the way of this hex, so yeah, Allen keys would definitely be better. Yeah, that's a real shame about them trumpets, but that's the way it goes sometimes. I'll get those sent straight back to Dale. Now, a couple of you mentioned when I took this round the block, after I changed to the 175 main jets, that it seemed a bit too rich at the top end. I definitely remember that sometimes when you put your foot down, it would sort of splutter a bit, and then if you kept your foot down, it would sort of catch up and go. So I think I'm going to actually try and put the 160s back in. Now, that's what Dan ST Engineering advised me ages ago, because it definitely didn't do that when I had the 150s in there, although it was a little bit underpowered at the top end. So, you know, it probably needs to be somewhere between the 150s and the 175s that are in there now. So yeah, I'm going to try and refit the 160s. As you would have seen in that recent video, it is a long-winded process, so I'm going to do it off camera and then take around the block and see if it's any better than it was in the video before last. Fast running out of light today, so I've now got the 160 main jets in. One thing I noticed with the idle mixture screws is that number 1 and 2 were pretty much all the way wound in. Now, I don't know if maybe I attempted to adjust them one day while they were still attached to the inlet manifold and then sort of gave up and forgot to revisit it the next day, but I've got them now set to 1 1/4 turns out. Definitely no splutter now towards the top end. Still feels like there should be a bit more power in it, but you know, the ignition map and that needs to be set up, so. Yeah, definitely moving in the right direction, I think. I'm basically out of time now. I haven't got time to mess about anymore with jets anyway, so just have to go on the dyno as it is. Back at home, and I can hear my beautiful girlfriend Kat chopping up some stuff for dinner. Looks like we're having chicken fajitas, which I'm a massive fan of. Now, I've got 2 days at work, and then I've got a day off for dyno day, which you'll be able to see in the next video. While I think of it, I'll show you the new glass cabinet that we bought. In fact, my parents bought me that for Christmas. So it now means that Kat's got more room for her stuff and I've got more room to display my car stuff. I've got the Summit Run and Show clock sitting in here. I've actually ordered one of those stands that you put fancy plates on so I can mount that. Here is the picture of when I took Esther down Santa Pod years and years ago. I've now got this Sierra that Scott Norris in Wales sent to me on display in the living room, and I've got these metal signs that the Cougans gave us for Christmas. And I've got this frame up here with pictures from last year's Summit Run and Show. As I say, in a couple of days I'm going to be putting Maude on the dyno with tuning legend Chris Todd, so do keep your fingers crossed for me on that. Ultimately, even if the dyno session isn't successful, we'll be able to see exactly what's going on. But hopefully, Chris will be able to get the car running safely so that then I can take my dad's Mark III off the road before the weather gets really cold. I don't really want to be driving that car when there's salt on the road. I want to send another massive thanks out to Dale Thomas for sending me those trumpets. I will get those back in the post for you tomorrow, seeing as they don't fit my carbs, and you should have them before this video goes up. I want to apologise to any painters out there that have got sore eyes after seeing my bodge with the cockpit of the new project. But ultimately, if I'm going to cut corners anywhere, I may as well do it in the areas that can't be seen. And now that I have painted the interior of the new project, it means that when Esther comes back from the paint shop, I'll be able to put the interior back in the car so that Esther's got her garage. And then when the car goes to Chris KEMBER at CLUMPFAB for welding, I'll take the interior back out and it can be stored in the new project's garage. Don't forget, if any of you guys out there have got a chocolate brown Mk2 Escort carpet for sale, do get in touch and I'll purchase it off you. And also, can any of you tell me if there's any such thing as a chocolate brown boot mat in a Mk2 Escort, or were they all black? So that's all I've got for this video. If you did think it was any good, please do give it a thumbs up and a share. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Click subscribe to keep up to date with all my future uploads, and check the links in the description to my social media and my website. I'll also leave my email address down there for anyone who wants to contact me. Massive thanks, as always, for your continued support of my channel. But other than that, until next time, thanks for watching.